Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I decided to come on here and talk about some different ways or things that you can do with your child at home while we are off on a break. Some states like Michigan and Ohio, I know that school is out for 3 weeks, and I've heard that from my family in Ohio. And kids are at home, so school's not in session. And then also, I know here in Texas, at least in my district, kids are out next week. We were on spring break this week, and they extended our spring break into next week due to the coronavirus. So I know people are trying not to panic. I am one of those people, and parents are at home with their kiddos. And so what I wanted to do is show you guys some things that you can do at home to work with your kids. Now, I am a first grade teacher, and so I primarily work with first graders, and my district is departmentalized. So I teach English and language arts and social studies, and I have a partner teacher who teaches math and science. However, my education degree is in early childhood, which is infant through preschool age, all the way up till 6th grade. But on today's video, I am going to be pretty much talking about the areas that I've worked in. So I've worked with preschoolers, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, first and second graders. So I'm going to kind of keep it lower elementary, and I might throw something in there for older kids, but pretty much this is for younger kids. So I'm going to show you some stuff around your house that you can use to help teach your kids at home. And by no means, this is a big disclaimer, does this replace anything that your district would send home for your child, or that your teacher, your child's teacher, would send home for them to complete while they are off on 3 weeks or 1 week or however long it is. Still do what your teacher what your child's teacher or what your child's school district wants you to do, but this is some things that you can do at home to make learning fun and kind of beef up or give your child something to do while they're in the house so that you don't feel like they're not learning anything and they're missing out. So let's get right to it. I hope that you enjoy this video. I'm gonna try to keep it light and fun. And there's my little girl Aubrey in the background. She decided to follow me, so you'll probably be seeing a lot of her in this video. She's 3 years old. I'm going to try to keep it light and fun for you, because by no means do we want to stress our kids with learning, but we always want to make it fun and interesting for them. So I'm going to get right to it. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's get to it. Alright, so first things first, let's look at reading. So I have a few books that I found laying around my house, and you can do this too. I have these from my toddler. I have some from my 10-year-old that she used to read. But if you have books laying around, or even if you don't, if you want to find these books on YouTube, they have a lot of read-alouds that you can have your child listen to. So I have this book, Feed the Cat, I Love My White Shoes, The Pout Pout Fish, and Dragons Love Tacos. And these are just 3 of the books that I found for this example. So what you can do is you can read this story to your child, or if your child is able to read a book like this, you can have them read it to you. And then what you're going to do is you are going to, at the end of the story, when they finish reading or when you finish reading it to them, you're going to talk about what happened in the beginning of the story. So this is stuff that we do with students at school. After they finish reading a book, we'll ask them, okay, well, what happened in the beginning? So the beginning of the book is usually the first few pages, where the characters or who the people or animals are in the story, and the setting where the story is taking place is introduced. And then as you get to the middle of the story, you will see a problem. So in this story, Pete started off with white shoes and said he loved his white shoes, And then he kept stepping in things like strawberries. His shoes turned red. He stepped into blueberries. His shoes turned blue. Okay? The interesting thing about this story is that Pete is not upset when his shoes change different colors. He is happy about it. So it's not necessarily a bad conflict in this story, but it still could be a problem. The solution is kind of overlapped with the problem because every time Pete's shoes changed color, he said, I love my red shoes, or I love my blue shoes. So the solution was that he had a good attitude about it. He wasn't upset. The Pout Pout Fish definitely has a problem. You will find different characters in here, different in the setting. They should say ocean, where the story is taking place. And then you will find the problem, what is wrong in the story, and then the solution. How was the problem solved, or how was the problem fixed in the story? A lot of the time what I do with my kids in school is we will take a piece of paper or some sort of graphic organizer like this, and I will write B for beginning. And they will have to write what happened in the beginning. In the beginning, blank, blank, blank happened. M for middle. In the middle, blank, blank, blank happened. E for end. In the end, blank, blank, blank happened. Okay, and that is how they are summarizing or retelling the story by using B, M, E. Okay, they should be talking about the characters in the story, where the story took place, the problem in the story, which is here. The problem in the story, you can write it down here for them as well, and then how the problem was solved, the solution. This is another thing that is big that we focus on with books, are connections. And so we ask the students, what does the story remind you of? And that's how they're able to make a connection. There are 3 different types of connections that students can make. They can make a text-to-text connection, where this book may remind them of another book that they've read, like another Pete the Cat the book, or it could be another book where maybe the character had a problem and they had a good attitude about it. That could be a text-to-text connection. They can have a text-to-self connection, where maybe they read this book and they're saying, this reminds me of when I stepped in a pile of horse poop, or this reminds me of a time when I wore my brand new shoes to school and at recess I got them dirty in the mulch. That's a text-to-self connection. And then a text-to-world connection would be maybe something that happened in this book. It reminds them of something they've seen on YouTube or on TV or something like that. That's a text-to-world connection. It also could be something that happened in their neighborhood or their community. That would be a text-to-world connection. So that's what you can do for fictional stories. These are fictional stories because these are fake. These are not real. We all know that a cat cannot wear tennis shoes and walk down the street singing, I love my red shoes. So that would be a fictional story. Now I'm going to tell you what to do with a nonfiction story. That would be a real story with real facts, things that happen in real life. Also, this is not just limited to a book. If you don't have a lot of books at your house and maybe your library closed, like I believe the Columbus City Library is closed, you can also do this on Netflix with fictional movies. You can still have them write, still have them retell from a movie, and you can do the same for nonfiction as well. Okay guys, the next type of story would be the nonfiction. So I'm going to show you this paper. So this is just something that you can do at home that you can write, and the topic would be what the book or the movie is about. I'm going to show you an example here in a second. And then you would just have the child write facts. So this is more so like a first, second grader. Third graders can also do this, but this might be a little bit too easy for them. But this is different reading strategies. Kindergartners can also do this, and this is something you can discuss with a preschooler as well. But it's just a topic, 3 facts, and what does this remind you of? You may hear baby sounds because my little man TJ is going to be hanging with me for this video as I am at home, and we both have our Kent State gear on, and my 3 daughters are also here. So I'm sure you'll be hearing some things in the background, but we're gonna make it work. Okay, so I'm gonna have my daughter help me because I'm holding TJ and I can't hold the remote and my phone. So I have Roku TV and a smart TV, but if you have a Netflix account on any kind of TV, this will work. So Essence, can you go to Netflix? Now, they don't click on Aubrey. Go back. click on Daddy's profile.
Something just happened.
Oh, hold on. Okay, click on Daddy's.
Why are you hit both?
Aubrey's 3, so she watches a lot of Sophia the First, so we don't want to be on that. So where you're going to find a lot of nonfiction for your kids to watch is going to be usually documentaries. So Essence, go down, point the arrow down, and let's see if they have documentaries. Keep going. Keep going.
Aubrey.
Okay, there it is, documentaries. Keep going over. Keep going. Keep going. So pretty much any of these that are kid appropriate will work. I am looking for, keep going. I'm looking for the one about the earth. Because, wait. Go back. Untangle. No, I don't want that. Okay, go back to the right. Now, if you have an older child, they could probably handle some different things, but I'm gonna do lower elementary, so I'm looking for some 70. What is that saying? Go to the one. Yeah, click on this one.
Play it.
Yes, so that's a Disney documentary on oceans. So you could do this and you could talk about what the topic would be. The topic would be oceans or ocean animals. And then you can do facts. So 3 facts about the documentary that they watched. So what 3 facts or things that were true did they watch in this documentary? So that's a way to kind of tackle nonfiction text or nonfiction in a movie form if you don't have a nonfiction book. So this has a narrator. Turn it up a little bit, Essence. A little bit more. Yeah, that's good, I think. So this would be an example of nonfiction. Another thing that I was looking for was, I'm not sure if it's still on here, but there was a documentary about the earth and the different animals on the different continents. And so that would be another good option for nonfiction. And guys, another thing that you can do for fictional stories like Pete the Cat with the BME, you can have your child draw their favorite part and then write about why it's their favorite part. You could also, for non-fictional stories, have them maybe draw something they learned about. For example, if it was that oceans documentary, draw a fish or draw the ocean, and then maybe draw different things that are in the ocean and label those things. That's also another thing that you can do. Okay, another thing we do in reading would be like nursery rhymes for rhyme, rhythm, repetition, alliteration. This book does not have alliteration in it because alliteration is when you have similar sounds next to each other, such as Peter Piper picked a pepper. So this book does not have that in it. It does not have alliteration, but it does have rhyme, rhythm, or beat, and it does have rhyming words or some repetition. So what you could do is you could read a nursery rhyme to your child. Like this is Hush Little Baby, so this would be a good one to read to your child and talk about oh, this nursery rhyme has rhythm. It has beat. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. And how we do beat is a lot of the time we'll just pat our leg or snap our finger to show the beat in the story. So, hush, little baby, don't say a word. And that would be your beat. You could also talk about rhyming words. So in this book, word, mockingbird, those rhyme because they have the same ending sound. Sing, ring, those rhyme. They have the same ending sound. Brass, glass, broke, goat. They have the same ending sound. So you're not necessarily looking at the way the word is spelled, like broke, goat. You're not looking at the spelling, you're listening for the similar sounds. So you could read this story to your child and you can ask them, oh, what were the two rhyming words? They are not looking at the spelling, they're listening for the rhyme. And then they can tell you that. You could also do something, which I'm going to try to show you in another clip, with building another rhyming word. So if they said that word and mockingbird rhyme, well, you could have them build a word with magnetic letters or with cutout letters or letters on a sticky note that have the same ending that rhyme. And that would be another thing to do. That's like a good phonics skill. Another thing that you can do with your kiddos would be some phonics. So I have just taken some sticky notes. If you don't have sticky notes, you can cut up a piece of paper into squares or index cards, whatever you have. But I have sticky notes here. And so what you can do is build basic CVC words like bat. If you want your child to change and say, okay, well, what else, what other word has at in it that we can change this to? Then I would probably flip this over. And a student might say cat. You can go through the letters of the alphabet. And so you would say, okay, cat, what sound is that? Okay, what letter makes the k sound? K does, but if they say K, you could draw that, write that, and say, ooh, does that look right? No. What other letter makes the k sound? Oh, C, okay. What does that spell? Cat. And you can keep doing that with different letters of the alphabet to make different kinds of at words. You could also change this to ag or am or let me see, app, and make different words that way. Or ugh, different things like that. That is one of the phonics skills that we do in school. Another thing is to go on a sight word hunt like this and put sticky notes around your house. This is just on my wall and I have the word me. You can do that. You can put different words, sight words on sticky notes and have your kids look for them. Almost like a scavenger hunt or like a hide and seek kind of thing, and have them look for the word. You could also do this with letters. Another cool thing with the sight words is having the student or having your child look for them in a book when you're reading. So if you read different books in your house, have them look for the sight words. So every time you read it on the page or every time they see it, have them point it out to you. That helps them be able to recognize it quickly. Okay guys, so I'm going to try to follow my notes, but again, I really just went around my house and found some things that we just have kind of laying around the house. Don't mind the mac and cheese Aubrey was eating. But I just gathered some things from around my house because I wanted this to be something that you can do at home, because we don't just all have a bunch of school or teacher things laying around our house. So I just found some random things that are useful. So if you have any of these things like cotton balls, Q-tips, we have some playing cards, construction paper, crayons, some notebook paper, pencils, money, things like that. I also have some letters and numbers that I had already purchased for Aubrey before, but I have found those at Dollar Tree before. So if you did want to go out, you could maybe find those there. Like I said, this does not in any way replace what your district sends for your child to do or what the teacher sends, but this just might be a good way for you to do some work with your child so that you don't feel like they're just sitting at home and they're losing what they've gained in school or they're not learning. This is something that you can do. So On to math, and I'm just gonna try to follow my notes here, so just bear with me a little bit. On to math, what you can do is, so this is a little chart that I've drawn, and the H stands for hundreds, the T stands for tens, and the O stands for ones. That's because this is for place value. So what you can do with this is, those are numbers on the card. Sorry, I'm still holding TJ. So I've written a bunch of random numbers on notebook paper, and I cut them up. And what you can do is, you can put the numbers at the top of the paper and then tell your child to build it. Now, if they're in kindergarten, they're not going to be building numbers such as 57. They will probably build numbers such as 19 or 18, maybe up to 20. Now, in first grade, they're gonna go higher, so it will go up to 120. In second grade, I believe they go up above 1,000. So the numbers do increase, and if you have a second grader, all you need to do is put 4 columns on the paper, and you would put thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. So now we are in a little bit of tighter times. I don't know about your grocery store, but mine was pretty bare when I went this morning. So you don't need to use food for this so that you're not being wasteful, but if you don't have things like Q-tips or cotton balls, then you could use food and maybe just put it like in a sandwich baggie so that your child can eat it later. Just make sure their hands are clean. Of course, you don't want the cheese sitting out all, late. But if you have a number such as 57, you can take you want them to break this number or decompose it, okay? So that means break apart. This is 5 tens because it's in the tens place and 7 ones. So what they're gonna do is take 5 Q-tips to stand for 10 sticks. And then they need 7 ones. So 7 cotton balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so they've just decomposed the number 57 into 5 tens and 0 ones. 5 tens being 50, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. And you'll do that for each one. If you have a 100, like this one, 119, then that 119 breaks down into 100, which I'm going to use a piece of cheese that is still wrapped as my square for 100, because in school, the 100 is a square. So 100, then I have one group of 10, so then I'm gonna take these ones away and leave 1 for one group of 10, and then 9 ones. So I already have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna add more, 8, 9, and then that's breaking that number down into hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay, so that's one math activity that you can do with your child. Another thing that you can do is have your child do things like, if they're in kinder, 2 plus 5 equals, okay, or you could do 2 plus something equals 7, and they have to find the missing number. Yes, Aubrey?
I said, Mommy, can I have the cookies now? I'm full.
If you're full, you don't have room in your belly for cookies. Hold on, Aubrey. So if I do 2 plus 5, I can still do 2 cotton balls, and this is using manipulatives, okay? Because in school, a lot of time we use manipulatives. Now, if you don't have things like this for them to do, thank you, TJ, for the commentary. You can have your child draw. So draw 1, 2 dots plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then have them count them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 equals 7. Okay? Or if you have a column like this, have them do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go potty, Aubrey. And then they're going to take away 2. So cross them out and then count them on your left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 5 would be the unknown. Okay, so that's another thing that you can do. And if you're doing this with preschoolers, like 3, 4, maybe 5-year-olds, a lot of the time you just want to do number recognition and then the one-to-one correspondence. So you might have them, you might ask them, what is this number? What is this number? What is this number? And you only do that with preschoolers up to 10. Preschoolers, 3 and 4-year-olds, some 5-year-olds if they're still in pre-K, the goal of that is for them to be able to count to 20 and to be able to recognize numbers 1 through 10. 0 is a little bit complex for them, so they don't really recommend that. But you can have them do numbers and have them count. So 2, go 1, 2, 1, 1, so that they're doing one-to-one correspondence. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's one-to-one, being able to count and say it as they're going. Okay, so my daughter Essence is going to help me show an example here. But another thing you can do is work with money. So you want them to recognize what the coin is and how much it stands for. So one thing you can do is take one of each kind of coin out and put it on a piece of paper. Go ahead, Essence. Okay, and so you have one of each coin. Then you can ask your child what is the name of this coin, and they can tell you, oh, this is a dime. Okay, how much is the dime worth? 10. This is a penny. How much is the penny worth? 1. This is a nickel. How much is a nickel worth? 5. This is a quarter. How much is a quarter worth? 25. Now, that is a great thing to help them recognize coins and know the value of each coin. You can also use the pennies to count by ones. So a skill in first grade is being able to count to 120. Skill in pre-K is being able to count to 20. So having them count pennies up to 20, to having them be able to count up to 100, having them be able to count to 120 using a penny. Another thing is skip counting. So being able to count by 5s using a nickel. So being able to count up to 20 or up to 100 or 120 by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And of course you don't want to just have them do that with one nickel. Give them enough nickels to be able to count by ones up to 120. The same thing for dimes, being able to count by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, and having enough dimes for them to be able to do that. That's important as well. Okay, so I think I'm going to do a part 2 for this because I kind of focused on kinder and first grade and maybe some second grade stuff to do with your child at home. And I still have a lot to show you, and I don't want this video to be extremely long. So I think I'm going to do another video for geared more towards preschool age kiddos. But one more thing I wanted to include before I ended the video was science and social studies. So for science, if you want to do something with your kiddo, you could plant something. If you're comfortable enough to go out to like a Home Depot or something and get like a little pot, some soil and some seeds, plant something, and then they could be like little scientists and have some notebook paper where they have to draw what the plant looks like every day so that they're making observations. They can also predict what the plant will look like, or different things like that. Draw a picture of what they see and then document the weather every day that they go to observe the plant. So if on one day it's an outdoor plant and it's raining, they could document that it's raining and what the plant looks like. The next day it's sunny, draw a sunny picture with the plant and draw what it looks like and how they think the weather will affect the plant. For social studies, YouTube is a great resource for social studies. You could take this time to teach your kiddo about your state's history. Look up the state flower, what the state flag may look like, the similarities and the differences between the U.S. flag and the state flag. You can search things like the state bird and if your state has a song, because those are things that we do teach our kiddos in school. You could also discuss landmarks. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. You can discuss landmarks and symbols such as the Statue of Liberty or the White House, and talk about what they represent and why they're important. Those are different things you can do for science and social studies. And then, of course, you can always talk about kindness. Kindness is important in social studies, and how to socialize with people and how to be kind. So if you have younger kids and say they're fighting with their siblings, parents, you do this all the time. You teach social studies, teaching your kiddos how to work through a problem, how to solve it using kindness and kind words and compromise. Believe it or not, that is something that we do all day long in school. So social studies is always covered. But that's going to be all for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you think of anything or have any questions about anything I showed in this video, or you think of anything that you want to share, just drop it in the comment box below, and I will respond as best as I can and as fast as I can. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe and share. I hope you found it very helpful and useful. Not in a way to incite panic or anything, but just so that parents aren't feeling completely helpless, like they can't help their child while they are at home. But these are some things that you can do to help your child not slide backwards or feel like they're not doing much except for maybe playing on electronics or whatever while they are at home for this amount of time. I wish blessings on everyone, and take a break today and relax. If it means taking a walk outside, just to give your mind a break, because everywhere we look, everyone on the radio, on the TV, on social media, they're all talking about coronavirus. And yes, it can be scary, but let's try not to panic or get overwhelmed. Let's try to have some sort of peace. All right, until next time, guys, have a great day. Bye.